Okay, on the Ozark Hobby Adventurist workbench today, we're going to be doing a little bit of maintenance, and I get questions asked a lot on, well, what do you have to do maintenance? Well, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is kind of break into your equipment, make sure it's still good to go and clean, and make sure parts that are lubed need to be lubed, which there aren't going to be very many, and just pretty much generally make sure everything's squared away. Kind of like a safety inspection for your RC. Alrighty, now we're going to pull the hood pins off of here. And you want to be careful with your RC around water and dirt, specifically both of those together and independently as well. Water is bad for electronics. It's not the greatest thing for your motor, but as long as it's clean, it's not too bad. Water can get absorbed into the foam inserts inside your tires and create like a lot of wasted energy usage trying to turn big, fat, heavy tires that weigh a pound or so a piece that normally don't weigh near that much. So, speaking of water and electronics, here's my neat little homemade water-resistant battery box. Nothing is waterproof. Consider waterproof meaning extremely, really, really, really awesomely water resistant. And that would be the best way to really describe that. Oh, little piece of grass. Made it home. Okay, and now let's see here. And dirt is bad for anything that has close tolerances, bearings, gears. Some of your shafts here are eventually going to get worn at the ends just because of dirt and wear. So when it comes to lubing things, and speaking of dirt, once again, you want to anything that's enclosed can get grease or a light coat of oil, and that'll help it be more efficient. And you don't want to put any oil or grease or nothing on these things. I think I said that once before. Turned upside down. Everything is dry. No lube. Maybe a little lube inside your differentials. That's just because they go through a lot of mechanical stress. If you do go and plan on not taking out your foam inserts, and even if you are, it may be a good idea to drill 4 holes in your tires. North, south, east, and west. And the reason for doing that is those holes will allow water to seep out. It will also allow water to seep in. So if you have foam tires, I would suggest if you play in water, drill 4 holes just in the rubber. You're not trying to drill a hole all the way through the rim, just enough to do it in the rubber. Here, I'll even show you. Doesn't need to be a big hole, just needs to be a hole. For those in a tire. And it's a good idea if you have a full-time four-wheel drive system that has no differentials in it. These tires will always be pointing the same direction all the time, so you can drill 4 holes and make sure that when you drill them, you have a hole in the top when it sits like that. And then the next time, all you gotta do is squeeze it, find your little holes, make sure that one's on top, and that means that there's 4 draining. Pretty simple, solves the problem, not a complicated ordeal. Let's see here. Screws and plastic parts. Since there are a lot of screws and a lot of plastic parts, always pay attention to not over tighten your screws any tighter than they have to be. A lot of times at the factory they over tighten screws way too tight, But the screws only need to be tight enough to do their job. You get them too tight, you're going to strip it out, and then you're going to have to go out and buy some parts. Let's see here. This one's been cleaned already, so everything looks pretty squared away on it. I got a few little wires. This is messy stuff. My buddies give me a hard time. You're a slob. It's okay. I'm in the middle of wiring this stuff up. These are my wires for my headlights. And I've got tail lights that I'm working on putting on here. And I'm just going to add a couple little zip ties in here. If your RC buddies ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. There's one. There's another one. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. Alrighty, now my wires look better. Now my mom will be all happy I'm all organized. Okay, we're gonna go over to another car real quick and pull some maintenance. But before we get all excited, there's a piece of equipment that we gotta take care of real quick. When you get done messing with the vehicle, you grab the radio. Clean your radio up a little bit, get some of the dust and dirt and stuff off of it. And even inside here sometimes. Very carefully. Oop, you guys can't see that. Alrighty, now that rig is ready to go. Now we're gonna grab this one. Basically do the same thing to it. Now you can go out and buy a whole bunch of expensive hop-ups and stuff. Most of the time you don't need them. All you need to do is learn how to drive. But you know, it's a guy thing to have chrome. But like the old saying says, chrome don't get you home. So looking through this one here, it looks pretty good. When you do a horsepower beef up on an RC car, it's a lot like doing it to a full-size car. You put a hot motor in it, then you got to put transmission parts in it, and you got to put axle parts in it, and suspension components, and it keeps going if you let it. I'm perfectly happy with what I got. It serves me well. So I really don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff. I can save that for the garage. Nope, no dirt in there. That's looking pretty good. And a lot of your questions about how to take care of your RC are in the manual. So if you don't have a manual, you can always find one on the internet. And try to take care of your bodies. Stuff that looks cool is cool to look at. Stuff that looks like crud, not so much. Oh, let's see here. Is there anything else I can think of that I need to talk about while we're here at this little video? Oh, this one's seen some dust and dirt. Look, grungies. Watch this. Oh, doesn't that look better? Clean tools are happy tools. Now that radio doesn't look like it's 2 or 3 years old, does it? No, it doesn't. And it works and runs as good as it did yesterday and the day before and the day before that. Alrighty, well, that's about it. I guess we'll have to go find a rock and play. Later.